But as the more astute members of the class will recognize, this is blank, so I'm going from memory. So I'm just going to write down what I think is the right answer, and if I'm wrong, you guys can go ahead and say, what are you talking about? Because I'm not going to actually do it, because that'll take a long time. You with me? Okay. Smart. Noise. Everything is worth 1. It starts tonight. Yes, it starts tonight. The first episode is called The Big House, because Peralta and Rosa are going to jail.
Is it a good TV show?
It's the best show on television. Best comedy on television. 71,500 centiliters. 0.00. I think there's one more 0 and then a 4, but there might not be. It might only be 2 zeros.
I got 0.01.
Oh, it's 1. Yeah, sorry, it's 1. 1. 0, 1. 0.01? There's only 1 0? Okay. Whatever. This is something like 3.68. Okay. I don't care about the decimals. Don't jump on my head. I don't care. You did the conversion. This is like 6.49 yards. Some people had 6 yards. 1 foot 6 inches. Fine. You're awesome. Yards to millimeters is something like 2,520 or something. 2,143. Great. 2,100. Blah. This one is a big number. It's like 992,500 or something. It doesn't matter. It's a big number. This one is something like 35 feet 1 inch. Something like that. Right? Yeah. This one is something like 6,100 pounds. And this one is 6 pounds, 13 ounces. Anybody want to talk about any of them? Number 9. Okay, you have 109 ounces. There's 16 pounds in an ounce. Or 16 ounces in a pound. So you divide by 16 to get 6. 6 times 16 is 96. You had to cover 109, so there were 13 ounces left over. Okay. Anybody else? Once, twice, thrice. No problem going to milligrams, even though it wasn't on your list. You, of course, went ounces to grams and then did a simple metric conversion. Right? Yes? You missed a 0? Well, to change this to grams, you would have to go to 0.413, because you've got to move it 3 decimal places. And then if I'm not mistaken, it is 28.35. Oh, no, you want ounces. So it's 1 over 28.35, so it's 0.413 divided by 28. Oh, you needed to move 1 more decimal place to go from grams to milligrams. 3 spaces, right? Milli is 1,000th. Okay, anybody else? Once, twice, thrice. That part's out of 9. Everyone's cool. All right, moving on. This is 4 and 11/16. I will accept a range of 4 and 5/8 to 4 and 13/16 because of bad photocopying. This is the right answer. This is the range I will accept and give you full credit for. Any questions with it? Okay. This one is 9 and 5/8. 8 and 5/8. And I'll accept 8 and 9/16 up to 8 and 11/16. Any questions there? No, 1 mark each out of 2. Everyone's cool? Nobody did a subtraction thing there? Everybody listened to me when I said pretend like the whole ruler's there? Okay.
I was about to do it when I caught myself.
This one, The answer is 10.5 liters. Technically, because the question does not ask, say you got to buy it by the liter or anything like that. It says you need 10.5 liters. Will I accept 11? Yes. Because what I'm really looking for here is the fact that you did 3 by 3 by 2, 3 by 4 by 2 to get the surface area. Then you multiplied that by 3 because you were doing 3 coats, and then you divided that by 12. It's 1 mark. It's length times width. It's grade 3, man. Mathematical concepts, grade 3. It's four rectangles. Mrs. Bagcrumble taught you to find the area of a rectangle. She didn't need me. Any questions on the first page?
Is Mrs. Bagcrumble a name you made up, or is it like a...
Mrs. Bagcrumble is the name that my favorite comic gives to all of his teachers in his youth. My favorite comic is Eddie Izzard. If you haven't seen Eddie Izzard, go home tonight, go on YouTube, and Google Eddie Izzard. Eddieizzzard. Google it. Ignore the bad words because he's a little foul-mouthed, but watch it because he is the most intelligent comic in the world. You will actually learn stuff. If you really want to have some fun with it, Google Pavlov's cats and Google Death Star Cantina. It's good stuff. And be forewarned, he's a transvestite. Dresses in women's clothes. He's outgrown that now. He doesn't do it anymore, but he used to. Gets a lot of good comedy out of that, too. If you were in none of you are in Sanger's classes or anything. Never mind. Miss Sanger is a giant fan. What?
I thought you were about to tell us that she's a transvestite.
No. This is not what yours looked like. Yours was... I'm in the wrong notebook. Yours... Yes, once in a blue moon. Yours is that one. Now, hopefully you all realize that since that's 6, that's 8, and that's 10, that has to be a 90-degree triangle.
Oh, we played ourselves.
Okay, regardless, even if you did Pythagoras, it would be like 7.8, but I just did 8.
It wouldn't be 7.8.
No, like
6 squared. Oh, if you did this?
Yeah.
No, because what did you use down here? You can't cut that in half.
I don't know. I didn't use 8.
Well, that was silly. That's a 90-degree triangle, which is, of course, 6 by 8 divided by 2, but there's 2 of them, so it's 6 by 8. So, of course, this has to be 48, and that covers both the front and the back. And then you did times 2, times 2, times 2, and the bottom times 1. And you got an answer of 8 by 25 is 200, that's 400. 4 by 25 is 100, that's 200. 10 by 4, that's 40, that's 80. Plus 48, plus 250, 680, 728, 928, 978.
Yeah, I got 1,010.
So you got it wrong, is what you're saying.
What about the volume?
Whoa, what? Oh, right, you don't multiply the roof piece by 2. My fault, sorry. It was 8 by 25 and 6 by 25. So I did 8 by 25, which is 200, 400, but it's not. It's 350 because so it's 350, so it's 928.
Wait, you use up.
You don't multiply that by 2 because it's not the same. There's 2 different rectangles. Yes. Well, that surface area is out of 1 because, again, all you did was grade 3. You did length times width, base times height divided by 2, and then you did some adding. When did you learn that? Grade 3 with Mrs. Bagcrumble. Volume. Oh, son of a motherless goat. Moving on up to the second row to a deluxe student desk near the front. None of you even get that gag. It's a TV show from 1975 called The Jeffersons.
I wasn't alive in 1975.
It's a great show. Anyways, do you have a formula for a pentagonal prism? Volume. Of course you do. Because every prism is what? Area of the base times the height. The base is, of course, what? The shape that repeats, which is this. You knew that this side was 24, and you knew that the bottom was 40, so you knew this was 64, which you then multiplied by 25 to get the volume. 1,600? 1,600 centimeter. Oh, that's the centimeters cubed. Sorry. This is not middle school, so you do not lose marks for forgetting the centimeters cubed. So that is out of 2. Any questions? Going once. Going twice. Going thrice. Yes?
Okay, how did you find the height again? Like,
The height of what?
the triangle?
Well, because this is 6, and this is 8, and that is 10, this had to be a 90-degree triangle. Or it wouldn't have met up. Because 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 64, 36 and 64 is 100, the square root of 100 is 10. So this had to be a right angle triangle, which means you could turn it this way and have a base of 6 and a height of 8. Which then, of course, would make this rectangle divided by 2. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Surface area, I believe, was 460, and the volume was 432, or maybe the other way around. I can't remember. That's it? Does anybody need to talk about them?
460. Yeah.
What? Surface area? Okay. There's the way most of you probably did your surface area, and then there's the way I would do my surface area. The way I would do the surface area here is I would consider this a whole rectangle. And then I would do 2 WH, HL, WL, right? And then I would subtract this green right here, which was 2 by 9. And then I would subtract it. I'll speak slower so Bill Gates can keep up with me. Then I will subtract it twice. So I would find that whole surface area and minus 36. That's how I would do it. I am betting that the majority of you found that times 2, found that times 2, found that times 4, and did a whole bunch of extra work, is what I'm betting. Is it wrong to do extra work? Never. But finding that shortcut that I just showed you actually shows me you understand math better than if you just broke that into a bunch of rectangles and added it up. Do you understand what I'm saying? I and your future teachers and professors put a great deal of stock in quality and clarity of thought. Do you understand what I am saying? We do not care if you can get there taking 500 steps, because the answer is not what we are concerned with. Aight? Aight. And volume, of course, you found this entire area and multiplied it by 8. Yeah? Yeah, because that green shape repeats 8 times going backwards. Okay? Or you did exactly what I did before. You found the volume of the whole thing and then subtracted out the volume of that little one there. Either way, you get the right answer. Yeah? Yeah. Moving along. We went over that in class, did we not? No. I'll come back to that in a moment. The surface area of this thing was something like 200 pi, and I accept, of course, 628 blah. I do not care. Now, 2 of your classmates figured out 31 yesterday.
Oh, I was supposed to tell you how I figured it.
They explained it well. They did not do what I did. No, they didn't. They did something different, but it worked. Here is what I did. Because how many people have an answer for me? Because I didn't write the right answer there. What is the answer?
The answer is 1.79.
1.79 centimeters of rise. And to get the gummy bears, you had to explain it. 2 people explained it to me yesterday. I'm not giving gummy bears to everyone because they got it yesterday without Googling it or extra thinking. So, if you didn't get that, here is the way I solved it. Remember, the key is in how you read the question.
It's a prism,
A metallic triangular prism with a base area and a height. What's the volume of every single prism? Base area times height. So the volume of the prism was 18 by 20, which was 360, yes? Then it's placed into a cylinder 8 centimeters wide, height of 50, that is half full of water. So the volume of the water is pi r squared h, yes? Pi times 8 squared times a height of 25, yes? So the volume of the water was 1600 pi. 8 squared times 25, yes? When I drop the prism into the water, then I get a volume of 1600 pi plus 360, yes? And that gives me a new cylinder of water, doesn't it? The new cylinder of water is still 64 pi because it's same radius, but we don't know the h anymore, do we? Then I do algebra to find the h, and I find it to be 26.79. The question is, how far did the water rise? It started at 25, so I do subtraction, and I get 1.79. Now, other people did other things, and I'm okay with that. Other people did some stuff where they found the whole volume of the cylinder and then divided it by 2 to find the water, and then divided that by 360, a whole bunch of stuff. And a few people got it right doing something that I never would have thought of, right? But you guys had 2 people in your class get it right. They got the gummy bears. Any questions about it? Question you usually asked of me is, will anything that hard be on the test? And the answer is, of course, maybe. So you better know how to do it. Because, was any of that difficult? It was the volume of a cylinder plus the volume of a prism to equal the volume of a new cylinder. Right? That doesn't count for any marks, though, because it counted for gummy bears. Oh, son of a... The surface area of a cone is, of course, a circle, and that shape, if you drew the net, I don't really care if you didn't draw the net. But the surface area is something like 900... 864 pi, and then 24 blah, 2413 or some crap, I don't know. And then this one was, they're gigantic numbers. It's like 7,776 pi, and I can't remember the volume. They're big. Surface area of a sphere is 4 pi times 28 squared. I can't do that in my head. So that was the surface area. 3,136 pi, which is then whatever, 10,000 blah, who cares? And the volume was 4 pi times 28 cubed divided by 3. So an outrageously large number.
29,000.
Oh, good gravy. 28. It is 91,000.
29,000 pi.
28 pi. 28 cubed. You got it? Okay, great. It's 29,000 something pi, which was 92, blah, I don't care. That's out of 2, that's out of 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's out of 20. So give yourself a mark out of 20. Where will you write that down? On tomorrow's test, right beside your name. That's what I have. Why are we counting it in a southern accent, y'all?
I got 18 at 20.
That's British.
Now you've gone to someone from Tennessee attempting a British accent.
18 at 20.
Okay. You will be doing very little SOHCAHTOA work. Everybody likes trigonometry. It's everybody's favorite.
It's so much fun.
You're crazy in the head, Am Schumann.
I loved it.
You knock yourself out, buddy.
I love
I don't even remember when.
I love trigonometry.
Are we doing algebra the second time?
Huh?
Are we doing algebra the next time?
There's algebra in every single thing you do in math class.
Which one?
I'm not sure what you mean, Lynn. Eventually. All right. All of you already know this. I'm going to take 5 seconds to go through this. Most of you should know everything I'm about to do, so we're going to go through it very, very quickly. Then I'm going to make you do some work on it to make sure you actually remember how to do it. First thing I want to talk about is, of course, the theorem Pythagorean, the Pythagorean Theorem. I wrote it like that in Star Wars font, so it would be Yoda. The theorem Pythagorean, must you know.
That's probably the one thing
Who says that?
Yoda.
Yes? I've never heard him say Pythagorean
He
Theorem.
doesn't say that. He just says sentences in like a jump like.
Wait, Yoda's a little...
Am Schumann,
Yes.
summer next must you watch Netflix.
Yay, Taylor's back.
Is that... Oh, next summer you must watch
Welcome.
Netflix.
Hello. I'm here.
Where were you?
At an ortho appointment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I knew that. What?
You're not a cop.
Yeah. Why so many questions? I didn't say it was.
Where were you? I have it on video. That was very aggressive.
I didn't mean to be aggressive.
Well, then I guess you should learn to moderate your tone, young lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kidding. All right. So now that we have covered once again some of our classmates' lack of pop culture knowledge, complete lack of pop culture knowledge.
Yeah, he knows.
Because something.
You don't know who Yoda is.
I know who Yoda is.
So,
Like, I know, like.
the problem that afflicts 80% of the kids in the 10th grade is they stopped learning the Pythagorean Theorem when Mrs. Bad Crumble told them it was a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And that's what they think the Pythagorean Theorem is, which is wonderful, except in the fact that not always are triangles labeled A, B, and C. And as soon as we change the letters, 80% of the kids I teach come back with, I can't do it if it's not A, B, and C. Because you stopped learning math as soon as you got a formula. So I don't like to teach it as A, B, and C. I like to teach it as the way I was taught it, which was all words. The square of the hypotenuse of a right angle triangle is equal to the squares of the other two sides. So, I like to spend some time talking about what they actually are. The hypotenuse, and I've told this story to half of the class, so you will hear it. The rest of you are going to hear it for the first time. When I was in the 7th grade learning the Pythagorean Theorem, my grade 7 teacher said, if you cannot remember the word hypotenuse, you can remember the word hippopotamus. Me, hating math like a good grade 7 student should, promptly forgot the word hypotenuse because I liked saying the word hippopotamus. As you can tell by the way I say it now, it is a fun word to say. Say it with me, hippopotamus. Why wouldn't you want to say hippopotamus instead of hypotenuse? And then it came time for the test. And Mr. Bailey had a question on the test to which the answer was the word hypotenuse. I could not remember the word hypotenuse, so I wrote, of course, hippopotamus. Mr. Bailey marked it wrong. And I lost a mark on his test. To this day, I harbor ill will to Mr. Bailey for marking my test wrong when he told me to remember the word hippopotamus and did not give me credit for that. I don't really harbor ill will to Mr. Bailey. He was a wonderful teacher. I enjoyed his class immensely. But that is beside the point. The hypotenuse is where?
That's opposite to the right angle.
It is, latent vertices. That is never the right answer. Why?
You said the long one. Yeah.
Why is that not the right answer? What is the only way to prove it is the longest side? Measure or do the math. Until you have done one of those things, do you know it is the longest side? No. Excellent. So the hypotenuse, what is a better definition for the hypotenuse? Across. Across is what everyone says from the right angle. But of course, we no longer use the word across. Opposite. The word opposite in geometry means across the shape. And the legs are simply the other two sides. They are interchangeable. They are used either way. Now, what happened was at some point along the way, the math world decided not to talk about hypotenuses and legs. They started to decide to talk about a squared, b squared, c squared, which is lovely and awesome if you actually take the time to understand what is happening. What is actually happening is in a triangle, if you make this a square, boom, 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 and you make this a square, boom, 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 and you add those two, you get the exact same square as up here.
I got you.
That is what is actually happening. Okay? It's not about the triangle. It's about the empty space between three squares. Okay? When we say the square, that's what we mean. The value that we use is the square root of each consecutive side. Okay? Okay. Problem with a squared, b squared, c squared is when we get to a question like this, there are no a's, b's, and c's. You guys are pre-diploma students. You know that this x is c. Just like you know this x is either a or b. And you could solve those in your sleep. It would take you about 5 seconds. I would say, go ahead and do it. And by the time I finish writing it down, you would already have the answer. How long is C? 17. Because, of course, you did the work, which was, no, it's not you guys I'm waiting for. It's this I'm waiting for. You're faster than this $4,000 computer.
It's 4,000.
No, it's not. I'm exaggerating.
Does that mean I'm worth more than $4,000?
You're worth significantly more than $4,000. What a silly thing to say. At the very least, your 2 kidneys are worth 50 grand in the Philippines.
Wow. Oh, I want to get one kidney. Let's just give. Are we allowed to donate our kidneys?
No.
That's
Well, you're allowed to donate your kidneys. You're not allowed to sell them.
That is
What if I find someone who needs a
sell
kidney
it,
and
then
my kidney's
buy
bad?
It's not allowed. It's not allowed.
What if it's like under?
It's not allowed.
Not selling your nothing is allowed. Unless you go to the black market and
Anyways, 8 squared plus 15 squared, and then you square root, and that gets you C. Please tell me you understand this notation, so I do not have to go over it all. Everybody understands that, yes? What's the difference in B? You know the hypotenuse, so what is it? It's the square root of 12 squared minus 8 squared will equal A. And that answer ends up being the square root of 80, which is something like 7.9. 8.9, I mean, because it's got to be close to 90. Everybody knows Pythagoras, yes? Stop for a moment. Don't write this down. The reason I am doing this is because every so often I will give you, or you will get a question like this. 7, 12, B. And we will say, find the unknown. What is wrong with that? It's labeled B. But it's still the hypotenuse. And I would catch, even in this room, at least 2 or 3 of you. At least halfway through. So you would do a whole bunch of work in pen, realize you'd done it wrong, and then scribble it out, and then try to cram it all into there. Why I bring this up is because the one that bothers me even more is when I do this. And they see C. And they do 12 squared plus 14 squared, which gets you 144, and 196, which gets you 340. And then you square root that, which is something like 18.5. And they say, yep, 18.5. And they hand it in. Why is that wrong? How can that be the hypotenuse? Or not the hypotenuse? Right? Everybody with me? Those are things that bother us math teachers immensely. And that's what happens when you don't learn what you're doing and you learn formulas or steps. Okay? Now, with your neighbor, tell me, what have I done? I don't even know what I did there. Okay.
I have a question. So does Yoda speak backwards or like mixed up?
Mixed up.
Why is it? Is it like a joke or is this like...
No! 900 years old you reach, speak well, you will not.
Exactly, that's how he speaks.
Huh? Because he's 900 years old and English is not his first language.
What's his first language?
Whatever the first language of the Yoda race is. He's the last one.
He is?
Wait. I have a theory.
Okay. Conspiracy.
In The Force Awakens, when they show the projection of the Supreme Sith guy and he's a super giant, I think he's a Yoda.
Really?
I think he's another Yoda. Because you only see him projected. And he's projected gigantic-like. Shut up! That's my theory. I don't live on the internet searching for spoiler theories. I'm taking that theory until December 18th when The Last Jedi opens. Then I'll be okay with it. Because I'm not a super weird nerdo who's going to fight over it. Not that you are. I'm just saying. I can live with my Star Wars theory being wrong. I thought about it once when I saw that movie once. And I didn't blog about it either. I just said, I think he's a giant Yoda. Now, as I was saying before I was interrupted by myself, because it's usually me that interrupts me, especially in this room. You guys are such good students, you don't interrupt me very often. I tend to interrupt myself. I would like for you all to tell me the value of x. Go. Whoa. What? You went ahead without me?
No, I didn't.
Shocking. Fine. I'm going to wait a moment. No, Kayla, I can't hear you because you are doing the work right now. You can't possibly have it already done because you would have been listening to my every word. He said with his ears plugged so he couldn't hear the kids because you lose that in the audio because it's not, you can't see it happening.
Oh, okay. Hey, I get.
Thank you, Sarah. That was funny. I know, Sarah is awesome. I'm debating kicking out Leighton and Blake so I can move Sarah right here. Because I need the constant, I'm actually a 5-year-old boy and I need the constant validation of laughter.
Oh my goodness, that was so nice.
This is really like there's no...
Okay, stop! Stop!
Wait a minute.
What are some answers? Sam, what do you have for the value of x? Sam, don't be a wuss. What do you have for the value of x? Tell me what you wrote down. 17.5. Excellent. Who else has an answer for me? What? 17.3. Sure, why not? 17.47. 17.471. Anybody got any other answers?
Do we have 17? Okay, yeah. Never mind.
Is it mine?
Proceed.
I'm sorry.
Sure, let's throw that in there too. Anybody got something else? Now that we've kind of exhausted the 17 vein.
16 point... No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody has anything else? What do you got? No, tell me. Because
I got the square root of 725, which is
We got a 26.9. What else we got?
Wait.
The same one as Sarah.
6.
Wait.
39 now.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. But you don't do this.
No, I'm funny. Your calculator is just a piece of work.
Enjoyed self-criticism. I need to push buttons.
Okay. Sam Reet Makar.
You did Sam Reed this time. Last time you
What did you do to find 17.5?
It looked like it was half of 35, so just.
So what Sam is saying in his lovable Sam sort of way is he cut that in half, made that 17.5, made that 10, I assume, based on that. No?
It doesn't even line up close to halfway.
Okay. All right. So that was Sam's method of thinking. Kayla is disagreeing with him quite vehemently. Kayla, what did you do?
I just said the next number.
Mm-hmm. And Sarah, what did you do?
I assumed that 35 was a hypotenuse.
She assumed 35 was a hypotenuse,
Yeah.
which means you, of course, did a squared, b squared, c squared here, so you made that the root of 35 squared minus 20 squared, and then you did Pythagoras over there. What was the verb that Sarah used in her explanation? Assume. Spell assume for me. A-S-S-U-M-E. What happens when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me. Is math a place for assumptions? I assume that 1 plus 7 equals derp. Is that allowed?
That's what I said. It doesn't say it's a right angle.
Now, the real answer to this question is you have no idea. Because, I'm not done. If you have not studied trigonometry, this is impossible because you are making assumptions. If you knew trig, you could do it. But without trig, you can't, unless something is given to you. That, easy peasy. This, easy peasy. But they will give you different answers.
Wait, if you did have trig, what, like, would you use sine versus tan? Like, which angle would you try to find? Would you try to find the...
No, you couldn't even use SOHCAHTOA. You'd have to do something else.
Because even that one, you don't have both.
Should I say how I did it?
Yes?
Okay, I drew a line down the middle.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so now I know that that line is 10
How?
because on the left side.
Well, no, this isn't 90 degrees. How do you know that's... This is 90. What if this was 89? And then it went up slightly. That wouldn't be 10. Now, why did I give you this question? Because every single one of you tried to do something with the math that you had. You tried to build up from nothing instead of doing what 80% of your peers would do. Oh, now. Okay. What about the next one? Is the next one doable?
I did,
Go. Tell me what it is. Go, go, go.
20.
Can you do B?
No.
No, you can't.
But you
And not.
You can do a little more, but you still can't do it. Okay? If I give you this, can you do it?
Yeah.
Yep. If I give you this, can you do it?
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Because that's an impossible shape. Because this has to be the square root of 100 plus 400, which is 500, which is not 25. So this can't be done. Can you do it if I give you this? Yes. If I give you the blue, you're going to get one answer. If I give you the red, you're going to get a different answer. If I give you the red, you're going to do the Byron thing, right? And then that's going to be 10, that's going to be 25. You can find out that side, right? And that's going to be 10, and you're going to know that, so you can find out that side, and then you would add the two. No, because this is not 90 and this is not 90. So you cannot assume that this is 10.
Don't assume.
Okay? So what have we learned? Does the drawing mean anything? No, it is a guideline. Because if I gave you this, that's obviously not 90 degrees, but would you still perform Pythagoras on that? Yes. What if I said this? Would you still do Pythagoras on that? Why? Because the drawing doesn't matter.
The short side's 21 and the long side's
I actually didn't see you for a second.
All right. Okay, everyone's good with Pythagoras, yeah? Okay, if you were in my class last year, you know what I'm about to do. I do not know if Mr. Hirschman did this or not, so we're going to take a minute and make sure. Triangles. I'm using triangle because this actually applies to all shapes. Triangles are named by the vertices, which is the plural of vertex. What's a vertex?
You get sucked into the vertex?
No, that's a vortex.
Oh yeah, that's why it seemed familiar.
But it still works because the vertex is a corner. So you could get stuck in there. You could paint yourself into it like a dummy.
I can see how you were doing that.
Triangles are named by vertices. So, listen please. Listen please. Put a dot there. Put a star there. And put a curve there. I'm going to name this triangle. I am going to name it triangle ABC. Is everybody cool with that?
Sure.
All right. Now, I am going to go to this triangle. And since we took a little bit longer than I was hoping to on the assumption question, I'm going to save some time. And I'm going to tell you that angle E down here is the same. Angle D is the same, and that's F, and E over here is the same. Everybody cool with that? Now, since you know this is triangle ABC, somebody name this triangle for me.
Death.
FDE.
Thank you, Kayla. It is triangle FDE. Why? Yes. Is that what you needed to say when I was plugging my ears? That's even funnier. Why is it FDE? Kayla's leaving, so she can't tell us.
Because it's
the same angle.
You have to follow the same order as the first one. I went dot to star to curve. So I must go dot to star to curve. Everybody with me? Oh, sorry, dot curve star. Yeah, sorry, she screwed up. I was listening for everybody to say DEF to keep the alphabet. She was gone for that. Abasada ifagaha. Mena upa.
Wait, what is that the?
Ejakala. Mena upa. It's the phonetic alphabet. Here, Johnny Cash sings a song about it on the Johnny Cash Christmas or children's album. If you're a fan of Johnny Cash, I highly recommend picking up the children's album. It's excellent. Da ifagaha. Me jock ejakala. Me na upa. I can't remember the rest. Anyway, so everybody cool? All right. The next thing. Vertices are labeled upper case. Sides are labeled lower case. And then in big capital letters, by their opposite vertex. What do I mean by that? This side, before now, you would have called CB or BC. But now we call it little a. Because it's a opposite big A. Which makes this side what? Lil B. Which makes this side what? Lil C. Now, label this guy. What's this side? Lil F. What's this side? Lil E. What's this side? Lil D. Any questions? All right, now, if there are 6 people in this room with a ruler, that would be really helpful to me.
I have a ruler.
Excellent. Taylor,
Yes.
you measure side little a in metric.
In next
Sam, you measure side little b in metric. Sukmin, wait, I gotta keep this together. A, B. Sukmin, you measure little c. Avni, you measure, Armand, you measure, what have I said?
A, B, and C.
C, you measure little d. And I need one more person. Nobody else has a ruler? No, Taylor, don't give me away. Manalo, you got a ruler? Who else has a ruler? I know, he's lying to me. Here. Measure Lil E.
I got the measurement for me.
Okay. Turn the page over.
I need little A. Okay, I got it.
What is the length of little b?
I have a little A. I'm gonna forget.
You said you didn't have it and needed more time, so I'm getting Sam's. 7. What's little a?
4.3.
4.3 centimeters. What's little c? 8.5. What's little d? 13.5. What's little e? 11 centimeters. And F we left alone, yes? I'll get to that. Now, right here. Length of side A divided by length of side F. What's the length of side? Actually, we'll skip that one. What's B divided by E? 7 divided by 11. 0.64. What is C divided by D? 8.5 divided by 13.5. What is it?
0.629.
So 6.3. Now, what is this one? 4.3 divided by f, yes? What are you noticing here?
Oh, 6.5.
They're very close, yes? They're not exact because I had teenagers measure them. But what do you expect that to be?
6.2 or 6.5?
0.63-ish. So the question becomes, how can you, without measuring, tell me how long f is?
Wait.
Ask Bill Gates after he takes it.
Yeah, because the computer was slow.
4.3 divided by f has to equal what? 0.63. So what would you do there?
You have to go over and
times 0.63 would equal F.
Not times.
You have to divide them by
Yeah. You would multiply both sides by f to get 4.3 equals 0.63 f. Then you would divide by 0.63, and that would give you what f is. What is the point of this? Do that math, and I'll tell you. 6.8. Now, go measure f. Someone with a ruler.
Wait, I have to do it. Decide which one?
It's like 6.
Oh my gosh.
So,
That's crazy.
if
Magic.
you have similar, not just triangles, similar shapes. So what does that mean? If you have two shapes that have the same angles, this holds true. It is called proportional reasoning, and it is the basis for trigonometry. Here is what it means. Draw two triangles, approximately the same shape, label them the same way. A, B, C, D, E, F. Right? Label the sides properly. A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, this says that if I compare any two sides in the same position, for example, C compared with little f, and then B compared with little e, and then A compared with little d, what do I know about all of those comparisons? They will be equal. Okay? How does this help us? If I am building this school, did I build this school, take it apart, bring it here and build it again? No, I drew a picture of it. Was the picture life size? No, it wasn't. It fit on a piece of paper. That's how we get from a plan to this. Okay? So now I need to see if you can actually do this. You should have a little bit of space at the bottom. Everybody draw these two rectangles. Or triangles. Dot, X, curve, 10, 14, 12. Everybody cool?
Mr. Myers,
6.
go to the bathroom.
Please do.
You know what's a shoe show?
I didn't do anything. It's not me. It's not me. It's all of us. Okay, I have a question. Just leave. Just leave. It's not
I would listen to Ms. Federley were I you. How long is side x? You don't need anything more than that. You have everything you need. Work with your neighbor. Work with your neighbor. This is what you need. Come on, Taylor. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
What did I miss? Finding x? Yeah, so I don't know.
Not this x. This x. Sorry. That's what I want. Is it? What did you do? Don't throw me a number. I can yell out random numbers too. What did you do?
I took two sides, so 14 and 6.
So you took 14 and 6 and made a fraction. Did it matter which one you put in which spot?
No.
No. So what was your fraction?
14 over 6.
14 over 6.
Is equal to 10 over x.
Why did you choose 10? That's over on the left and this x is on the right. Because it's between curvy and dot.
And then I cross multiply.
So you put 10 over x because you had the 14 in the numerator, so you kept the 10 in the numerator. And then what did you do? Cross multiply, absolutely correct. So 60 equals 14x. 60 divided by 14 equals x, which is 4.28. Is everybody good? The other option there, you could have done this. You could have done 14 divided by 6, which was 2.333 forever. And then you could have used that because you would have known that 10 over x had to equal 2.33. And then you could have done algebra that way. Is everybody good? If you can do this, and please understand, more importantly than the ability to cross multiply was the ability to set it up, which is why I was a bit of a dink to Byron and made him tell me what he did. Because if you actually understand this, then you get trig. The expensive trig that we're going to do this year, which is a lot more than the trig that you did last year.
It's not as easy as SOHCAHTOA?
SOHCAHTOA is kind of like if you were to take a hammer and smash a mountain.
Awesome.
That would be SOHCAHTOA. The mountain is trig. Your little hammer, taking out chunks that big, is the SOHCAHTOA part. However, if you really know what you're doing with that hammer, eventually, what does that mountain become? A pile of rubble. Because SOHCAHTOA will get you through all of trig. I know, right? That's what I get paid for. Oh, I didn't even think about that. You're taking it way further than I was going to. All right. So, everyone, I leave you with 2 pages of Pythagoras. They should take about 10 seconds. But I'm giving you till tomorrow. But not really, because what's tomorrow? So really, you have till when?
Thursday.
Almost like you guys have done this before. What are you going to write on your test tomorrow? Your score out of
20.
and your name.
I didn't get the right answer.
Wait, can I do page 50 and 51?
Yeah. So the right answer, Taylor, was 14 over 6.
No, okay, never mind. It's okay. I got it.
Okay. I like it when that happens.